go to the microphone, just, yeah, and then...
Just back on a little bit earlier.
Yep.
You said that if your soulmate part opens, that you won't be attracted to other... But what if you've still got an emotional injury that causes you to continue to, I don't know, feel lust, I guess?
Okay, so if you feel lust for another person and you know they're not your soulmate, so what that means, your soulmate part of your soul is not completely open yet. That's what it means. Yeah. And it also means that if you have the courage, you can actually look at that emotion and say, all right, I know this person's not my soulmate, but I feel sexually attracted to them. So what's going on here? What is it about this person? So you start investigating it. You don't ignore it and make it all go away in your mind. You investigate it. You go, all right, what's it about this? Oh, she's actually about 5'3" or 4. Well, you know, describe, look at the person completely. What do you see? What do you feel from the person? What is it that's attracting you? All right? But you don't go up and need to talk about it with them necessarily, although you could if you wanted to, but you don't have to. You can often feel all of this inside of yourself, just in the privacy of your own home. You can go through the whole thing. All right, what attracted me? Okay, she's 5'3", she's quite slim, she's blonde or, you know, brunette, who knows? She's, maybe quite pretty maybe. She seems to, what's the feeling I get from her? A feeling that, you know, she's self-assured or whatever it is, the other feelings. And then look at yourself and ask yourself, well, all right, what in that attracts me to her? What inside of me? What am I looking for here? What do I want from this lady?
Because I feel like I've been gifted with the knowledge of who my soulmate is, but I still do have the sexual injury.
Yep.
But I'm pretty confident I know who it is.
Well, my suggestion, if you're confident you know who it is, stop all relationships.
Yeah, I've done that.
And then focus on dealing with every single emotional injury that you have within yourself regarding the opposite gender. And a lot of them will be sexual, where you'll feel a sexual attraction for somebody who you know is not your soulmate. Does that make sense? So you feel the sexual attraction, let yourself feel that. Right? So don't enter the new relationship necessarily straight away, but just let yourself feel the emotional injuries.
I just feel like I want to start to get to know her, but I've sent her an email and told her everything and haven't heard back, so...
Yeah, well, obviously your soul's saying you're not ready to know her yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I don't want to know her sexually. I just want to get to know her.
Well, that's not true either. You do want to know her sexually, but we'll...
Oh, no, yeah. I know that would happen, but I don't just want to go and jump into bed with her or anything.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't think I do.
You don't think you do, yes. So why would you then have these projections of lust towards other women? See, if you're totally open to this person who you feel is your soulmate, and you know who she is, if you were totally open to your soulmate, you wouldn't be feeling projections of lust towards other women. Now, the key is to not judge it. The key is to say, I am projecting feelings of lust towards other women, so therefore there's a part of this soulmate connection that is not open. Does that make sense?
Can it not open until you deal with the emotion?
It will not open until you deal with the emotion. Yep.
But it might be partially open?
It's like every other connection, Rick. It's like every other connection. It slowly opens as you deal with each emotion. So yes, it can be partially open. But what you want is for it to be, in the end, open enough so that you can meet up together and start to converse and start to develop a relationship, isn't it? And to do that, you need to deal with this whole group of different injuries. Now, how's your soulmate going to feel, do you think, when you're walking along hand in hand with her and projecting lust at other women? How's she going to feel with that?
Hopefully she wouldn't feel it.
Ah!
I'm only joking. I want to deal with it. I'm trying to get in there.
Now, can we just stop that for a moment? Hopefully she wouldn't feel it. What you're basically saying is hopefully your soulmate wouldn't feel who you are. Can you see straight away that?
I would be open with her about all my injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the actual situation. You're walking along hand in hand. You project sexually and you're hoping that she won't feel that.
Well, I'm sort of hoping that I wouldn't have to tell her every single time. Like, I've got these injuries and this is what's going on, and I do project. I don't mean it. I'm trying to work through it. Like, what else do you do?
You do mean it. If you're projecting sexually at another person, you do mean it. We've got to be honest here. You do mean it. And if she's feeling it, you wanting her not to feel it is also you wanting to cover over you. Can you see that? In other words, you not wanting to feel some of your own shame about it. Straight away, that's going to harm your connection between you and your soulmate. Because the connection between you and your soulmate is only going to work when you both are really open and truthful with each other emotionally. That's the only time it's going to work.
I'm not sure how you would do that. Like, do you walk around all day saying, I just projected?
Yep. Yeah, you do.
Oh,
That's
you do,
what
really?
Yeah.
All right.
Because you're totally open and vulnerable in every single moment towards this person. The whole goal of this is to become at one with her. How are you ever going to become at one with her if you can't be open and vulnerable at every single moment you're with her? See, can you see that's not...
Yeah, I'm trying to deal with it before I meet her. I've got a feeling I'm going to meet her soon, and I really want to get in there.
Yeah.
I am struggling to get in there.
Okay, so the key is to understand that most of our injuries that we seem to think are sexual in nature are often not. They are related to these things, you see. These things from our childhood and from our relationship with our parents. So there's something in these, every time you feel a feeling of lust in you towards another person who you feel is not your soulmate, what you need to do is come back to yourself and start asking yourself why it's there.
I think I know what it is. I just can't feel it. I didn't feel loved by my mum or my father, but it's mainly to do with mum.
So how do you feel about yourself with that?
I don't know. I just don't feel good, I suppose.
About yourself as a male, hey? Like, how do you feel? Do you feel attractive as a male to your soulmate?
I don't know. I'm not really sure.
See, what you're doing, I feel, is going around projecting at a woman a feeling of lust in order for her to feel a sexual attraction to you.
Yeah, that's right.
And that way, what happens is you then feel like
I'm wanted.
Somebody wants me.
I'm wanted, yeah.
Somebody wants me sexually,
Yep,
so
that's
they
right.
want me. They love me. Yeah. And there's an equation between want and love, which is not true, really.
Yep.
But there's also this feeling that I'm projecting sexually in order to get back this feeling that I'm wanted.
Yep.
So your addiction is to the feeling that you're wanted by a woman.
And that's why I cut off that addiction. And then I found myself flirting with a guy because I just wanted that feeling so much.
Exactly. That's how
like,
strong it is.
God. Yeah.
That's how strong it is.
Yeah.
So let yourself feel it rather than getting the flirtations happening and everything. Let yourself feel how strong that emotion is inside of you, of how much you need this
I'm
feeling.
not sure how to feel that. I don't get that. How do you feel that?
Well, you have to feel the opposite emotion. I'm not wanted.
Yeah.
That's the emotion you need to feel.
Yeah.
So it's the flip side emotion that we need to feel in most cases. Mary, you want to?
Rick, I just feel like there's a lot of resistance to actually feeling it. Like, so go with that, like feel your resistance about it, like your desire to hope that she doesn't notice, or the idea of it seems ridiculous to say every time, is because you don't want to be that connected to that emotion. So if you did, you'd be like on it all the time, and you're trying to physically change things, which is great, but try, like, you've identified what the emotion is, but there's obviously some really big resistance there. Try and focus on that.
And for all of you, one thing to bear in mind is here is a core emotion. So here's the core. On top of the core is the resistive emotion, right? The emotional, or the blocking emotion, if you like. And on top of that is the actions that we take, like anger and so forth, to resist, to prevent us from seeing the block. When you get to the blocking emotion, there will be some reasons why you're blocking this. So let yourself look at the reason why you're blocking it. One of them is shame. You feel ashamed of yourself for having lustful projections at other women. That's one blocking emotion. Does that make sense? But also there's also this addiction to the feeling of wanting to be wanted. And there's a shame about you being addicted to it. Like you feel ashamed that you're addicted to something inside of yourself. We're often ashamed. Go on.
Also, I think there's to feel the unwanted feeling for yourself would feel very powerless. And part of the projections is feeling powerful. So if you can look at that emotion for yourself as well.
Yeah. Once you work your way through the group of blocking emotions, the underlying causal emotion, which is this I'm not wanted emotion, I'm not wanted by a woman specifically emotion, will just come out of you. You'll just grieve it for a few days and it will come out of
I
you.
touched on something I had a little bit of a cry, and
Yep.
I felt like I was just put on earth to make my mother feel loved because she never felt loved.
That's
would
exactly
that
why-
be the emotion?
Yep.
Is
Yeah.
that the one?
Yeah, what often happens when our childhood is our parents have children in order to have their addictions met. And so what happens is, if you can imagine it from an emotional perspective, you've got this adult projecting at you that you've got to love them, but they don't have to love you. That feels pretty rotten as a child. And what finishes up happening as a child is we hook into that emotionally. So we project all this stuff and we do whatever they want in order to be loved. We're trying to be loved and we do whatever they want in order to be loved. But whenever we stop that projection at them, whenever we stop doing what they want, all of a sudden we're not loved again. And it's very, very damaging emotionally to us.
It was very painful. I had a bit of a cry about it, and I feel like that was, if I could have just stayed in there, I could have got rid of all the rest of it. Like
Yeah.
that would have been the causal. But anyway,
Yeah. And there may be, with all of these issues, there often are linked causal emotion. So one of the linkages is this thing that you were there for mum's pleasure, basically. Like, not from a sexual perspective, but from the point of view that whatever you were there to love her. Like, I've heard so many women want to have like 5 or 10 children even. And why do they want to have so many children? So that they're loved. Interesting, the kids have come in all of a sudden. Right? And talking loudly and everything. Many of you don't want to hear that. Right? And they feel like they want to be distracted. They want to be distracted. So in they come. En masse, you know. Because it's a big emotion in many of us that we were there for the parent, but the parent hasn't been there for us. And so what we do then is we start projecting. We learn as adults that if I project sexually at somebody, one of them will eventually notice me and project something back at me, and all of a sudden she wants me. Like, want me, want me, want me, want me. You're going around saying, want me, you know, like, and this is why the projection's there, that want me. As soon as one of them feels like they might want you, bang, I've got a connection. And it's a feeling of lust in me or whatever, because there is actually a connection going on between me and that person at that particular moment that is sexual in nature. And I've all of a sudden got this connection happening. And it's all because of an emotion that was created in my childhood before I even developed sexually. So it really has nothing to do with sexuality. It has everything to do with this unhealed emotion. And I'm willing to barter sex for it. Right? I'm willing to actually project sexually onto the other person in order to get back the real emotion that I'm looking for, the real addiction, which is I want somebody to want me. I want someone to need me. I want someone to love me. I want someone to care for me. For many women, it's I want to be made feel safe. Like many of you ladies have entered relationships for no other reason than to feel safe. And whenever a big, strong, burly man comes along with a bit of weight on him or whatever, you feel safe, and so you enter a relationship with him. Right? And if a short man comes along, you're not even interested. And that short man might be your soulmate. And you're just not interested. Right? Well, there's short men on the planet, isn't there? They have to be somebody's soulmate, don't they? Yeah. Yes. Down the front here, freaking.